Welcome back to another episode of The Engine Room, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Rich Proctor, who is CEO at AME 3D. Thanks for joining me, Rich.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Thank you.
Perfect. So hopefully for those avid listeners here at The Engine Room, be very excited to hear about Rich's kind of journey and story, and if we can open up on that, Rich, and just kind of tell us, what's been your journey to this role? How did we get to do what you're doing today?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been an unusual one, if I'm perfectly honest. I started out as a bog standard, in inverted commas, engineer. I am working on magnetics problems, helping bring new magnetic products to market.
Oh, cool.
So I was working in the prototyping space, and then I got the opportunity to move across to AME. We're on a growth trajectory. We brought in funding and support for the business. And because I was working in the prototyping space and AME has been a prototyping business, they thought I'd be a good fit to lead the charge on that. So that's why I'm here. So I've got oversight of all the different aspects of the business. So that's from production, sales, marketing, finance, all sorts of bits and pieces. So I've been here just over 3 years, and my biggest growth curve has probably been on the sales and marketing side, and particularly on the marketing side.
Perfect.
But I've good.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because obviously often we're speaking to the kind of marketing managers, and I always say to them, how do you get stakeholder buy-in? But I guess speaking to probably the top stakeholder, it'd be interesting to see like how you perceive marketing and sales. But obviously marketing is for me the core function that is possibly underutilized in most manufacturing and engineering firms. They don't see the value in it or don't understand like what marketing does. So it's like, oh, let's get salespeople. But actually, marketing is a kind of required thing. So yeah, kind of interested to see your opinion and what's your setup at AME 3D. Like how does marketing function?
Yeah, well, I think from like your take on marketing in the manufacturing space, 3 or 4 years ago, would totally agree with that. Like, who wants to be spending money on Google Ads for an engineering business? All that kind of stuff didn't. I was on that. Let's get some salespeople. Let's point them in a direction, wind them up, and let them go. But yeah, one of our key strategies within the business has been both on sales and marketing. I totally see the benefit of driving inbound traffic, driving interest, building a brand, letting people see who we are, what we do, how we do it, so that when we maybe then reach out to them through direct marketing or from sales, there's better credibility. People are more aware of us. They're more likely to have heard of us. So that means they're more willing to have a conversation. And all of that stuff is the stuff that we have to invest in to make the job for the sales guys easier. But actually, it's also we're trying to drive direct business from just our marketing activity as well. So our marketing function has changed over the past 3.5 years. We've tried a number of different things. So we tried help from a local agency. We've done some telemarketing, kind of paid some people to do some telemarketing for us. We've had marketing staff over the years. The one we've got now came to us from an agency that we were in discussion with. They were doing their digital marketing apprenticeship when we met them. But the thing that I recognised in them, and I was the person communicating with them on a regular basis, was that their mindset was bang on. They didn't necessarily have all the capability and the skills because they hadn't finished their training, but their mindset was excellent. So, one of the things I picked up is you can control 3 things in your life. You can control your actions, reactions, and your mindset, and their mindset for what they want to achieve is great.
Yeah.
So we took them on. They completed their apprenticeship and got distinction, and they're now a marketing manager within the business. So yeah, it's a one-person function that we seek to grow as the business grows, but they do a great job across the whole piece.
Yeah, that's amazing, and investing in apprentices as well. Like, I'm a firm favourite of that. I've had about 6 apprentices go through my businesses over the years, and it's an amazing thing. But I mean, I'd love to go back and actually write down and send out to everybody that I connected with what you just said about marketing, because you hit the nail on the head. And actually, it's really interesting because I think where it's becoming, I guess, more common in the engineering manufacturing space, like leaders are now starting to understand that this is something that they have to invest in, spend money on. and not just go to a trade show for 3 days. There's another 360 days they've got to care about. But the kind of where you were very articulate on it is the difference between like lead generation and that marketing brand awareness piece, because without being known, without having an awareness of who you are as a company, you can't generate leads and sales, because you're competing in a massive pond. And I think that's something that we're working really hard to educate our audiences on and our customers, to kind of go, look, campaigns don't always have to be about a bang ROI, certain number of leads from that campaign. It's a bigger picture thinking here. It's about, this is going to lead on to sales in the future. I mean, what's a typical kind of sales cycle in your business? Is it kind of 30 days, 60 days, years?
So we vary across the business, but one of our biggest challenges, and this is one of the reasons why I think marketing is forming such an important part of the business, is our sales cycle can be as short as 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
We then obviously build up a relationship with the client, but from the point of inquiry to order to delivery could be 2 or 3 days, quite literally. We had a new customer the other day. They inquired. They paid the same day because it was a new customer, and we were shipping parts out in 2 days.
Yeah, wow.
It might be 6-8 weeks for production runs, but yeah, it can be quick, and that's where marketing really has a benefit.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess you can also market capacity as well. If you're able to turn things around that quickly, and you can kind of be in people's faces saying, look, if you've got a need, we can help you right now. So come and speak to us. So what do you think have been your kind of major marketing successes then as a business over those past 3 years? Anything that stands out, a particular campaign or a particular thing that you tried?
We've tried an awful lot of different things. The one thing that I've found to be true, whatever we've done, is that there isn't a silver bullet, which is a shame.
Yep.
It'd be great if there were, and if there were, we'd sell it and make a fortune. But yeah, the thing we've found is try a load of different things at a low level. If something works, so it's like spread betting.
Yep.
Spread it all out, you get, and if you find something that works, just double down on that and absolutely go for it until it stops working. So for us, one of the things that's been really helpful has been LinkedIn remarketing.
Okay.
That's paid quite a few dividends for us, where we've done some campaigns. And as soon as the opportunity has kind of come through from LinkedIn remarketing, where people have been gone on to LinkedIn after our website, then people are, okay, oh, I've already looked at that.
Yeah.
I kind of know what to do, and they've reached out. That's been pretty quick traction for us, and that's led to better sized deals as a first order than a lot of other marketing we've done.
A lot of people claim that LinkedIn is a very expensive way to generate leads, but I mean, you've obviously there remarketing and winning business. So, I mean, what's your take on that?
I guess none of it is cheap. If you want to kind of put money behind it, we've used different software to help us do that. So we've used Phantom Buster to help us with some of that stuff, which has been really useful, really helpful. I wouldn't say that it's super expensive to do that. The ROIs, has been really good for us on the LinkedIn marketing. But again, it's one of those where I think people buy from people buy in different sorts of ways. So you've got to try different things. You've got to put some money out there before you're ever going to get anything back from marketing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm a massive advocate, and for those that follow me, they'll hear me bashing on all the time about a company should be spending a minimum of 5% of their turnover on marketing. We spend around 10 to 12% of ours, so we practice what we preach. But the US as a whole, generally their businesses are in that 10 to 15% bracket. The UK, we kind of swallowing down there in like 6-7%. And I often have conversations with leaders of reasonable sized businesses. One that springs to mind, they turned over £50 million and they spent £10,000 a year on marketing, and wondered why they were not getting any leads. And when I told them that they should be spending 5% of their turnover, I think he nearly fell off his chair. So, everyone has a different view on it. I mean, that's quite low numbers, but for me, so it's just an education, understanding, and stuff like LinkedIn. They say, oh, it's expensive, but we've been generating good quality leads at £4 or £5 a lead, and if you think about that as a lifetime value of a customer, for most businesses, that's going to be nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a pretty good price, isn't it? If you're going to get long-term business relationship, and you've got to go into it with that mindset. If you're not going into any relationship in business with the idea that this could be a long-term thing, then you're going to be on fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, definitely. So that's great, and we always like to hear about successes, but it's also interesting to just hear about challenges. And you've been on quite a journey, it sounds, and tried lots of things. But what have been the challenges? Maybe the mindset of other people in the business, or just something that was a disaster. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. So our board are very positive about investing in marketing as a good way to grow the business. So people who are on the board have got good, strong marketing commercial backgrounds, so see the benefit. I think for us, we're not a massive player in our market because there are multinationals in there in the kind of 3D printing additive manufacturing space that we're constantly up against. So it's a really challenging place where they're spending, from what we can tell from our research, they're spending similar to our turnover on their marketing. So that's something that we can't fight against. And then there's a mixture of people that are searching for the terms that we want to rank highly for.
Yeah.
So not only are we fighting the big guys who've got deep pockets to spend on it, there are people who are also kind of hobbyists that are looking at what we do. And they're not people who are going to be
customers,
like long-term commercial customers. So that's a challenge. So we're kind of stuck in the middle there. We don't want to spend loads of money to compete with them and not compete well, and then also just get loads of the kind of hobbyists who are interested in what we do but not customers. So that's been a real challenge for us. And I think from a marketing side, it's been a kind of a long, steady journey of us trying to build the brand. We slightly rebranded the business about 2.5 years ago, and that's just been a long slog.
Yeah.
There've been a few challenges. I think the main one is just kind of knowing where to go to get the best ROI, and that's one where, like I said, there's no silver bullet. You've got to keep trying.
I'd be probably retired if I had the answer to that by now. Yeah.
Yeah, who wouldn't be?
I think that it's an interesting point, and marketing, sales, business, right? We're both running businesses, so we kind of see a similar thing. There's so many caveats to consider with people, with marketing, with sales, with where to do this. Is this the right decision? And sometimes I think the key is having the self-belief that you have to try and that you don't know the answer, and actually sometimes it's not going to work, and that's okay, right? We're going to try this. This is our hypothesis. We believe it's going to work. It hasn't worked. It didn't work because of this. As long as you learn, my view is don't make the same mistake twice, because then it's not a mistake. But if you can learn something, and like you're saying, that's interesting about the hobbyists. A lot of people don't think about that. The internet's a massive place, and what you do in particular is quite kind of in vogue, and people are searching for it. Like one of the guys works here, he's got a 3D printer in his house and like knocks up really cool things for himself. And so that you're kind of competing in a very crowded space, and I guess that's where something like LinkedIn is probably slightly more beneficial, because you can target down so heavily. You can really go after job titles or function or companies, and so I think that's definitely something that we try to advocate customers. And interesting that you've said that, because the smaller and tighter you can profile those ideal customers, the kind of more specific you can be in your marketing, but also you can put your budget in a better place because it's going to go to those people. Whereas when you're a little bit, we want anyone or we want anybody to look at that, it's never going to work.
Yeah, I think we definitely fell over that massive hurdle of we want everybody and anybody to come and look at us first, and that just doesn't give you any good result.
No.
If you're just trying to pull in a massive net of people, so much of them are not going to be your target market. So many of them are not interested. But as we've really tried to kind of hone down the people that we want to connect with, the people we want to put our stuff in front of, and that has definitely helped. That's just so true.
And how, as a business function, and other people in the business, are you quite active organically on LinkedIn? Are you seeing traction from like using personal profiles versus the company page, for example?
Yeah, I think we get more traction with the personal stuff that goes out, the stuff that people put out individually. It's hard work to get some of the guys to do that. And one of the things I've tried to talk through with the guys on when they put stuff out on LinkedIn is when you put anything out, they start off so nervous about what response they're going to get. They think, well, will somebody like it? will 5 people like it? Will I feel validated if, like, at what point do I feel
Yeah,
validated as a person putting myself out there? And because I don't know the answer to that question, I'm just too scared to do it. Whereas I've tried to encourage them to say, look, it doesn't matter what people's response is to it. Put something out and just kind of see what happens, and then gradually you start to build your own kind of voice, your own kind of
yeah,
way of putting things out. And then as people respond, the key thing is then if somebody comments, respond, because naturally that bumps it up other people's feeds and they see it and then they might comment or like or whatever. And yeah, so it's just having the little tips and tricks, but we definitely get more engagement from the individuals rather than from the company page, and that's something that we're working on as well. But I mean, I've tried to be more active personally, but then get busy and don't get a
yeah.
chance to.
I'm as bad for that as anyone, to be honest. But and as a leader, then as a leader of a business, how do you feel about your employees kind of building their own brand, their own kind of reputation? Does that scare you, or are you kind of embracing the fact that they're happy in their jobs, they're happy with the business, and therefore that's a benefit to the business? Because there's quite a sort of split, I think, really on opinions from leaders. Typically, they're going, "Well, no, we don't want our employees talking." Like someone will poach them.
Yeah, and if I'm honest, we've had that happen. We've had one of the guys who was in our workshop. We did a kind of a marketing piece on him. He was on LinkedIn, and some work that he'd done. Somebody found him and took him. But ultimately, if the people in your business are not being approached by other people who want them to work for them, then you've not got the best people in your
Yeah,
business.
it's a good way of looking at it. Yeah,
You want people that other people want, and if we can provide a space for them to grow and develop and to create their own like personal brand, they'll recognize that that's something that as a business we've backed them doing it, and they'll want to kind of stay with us for the kind of long term. But you've got to take a risk, haven't you?
yeah.
It's all up to kind of your risk profile. But if it's going to get us more traction, if it's going to put them in front of more people, that's a good thing. It is a risk. It's totally agreed with you. It's totally a risk, but yeah, I'm encouraging our guys to be
Yeah,
building their own brand.
and that's really refreshing to hear because, yeah, I think it is a scary thought sometimes, but I believe, if you're building, as you mentioned, an environment where you're allowing people to grow, to be themselves, to be the best that they can be, actually they value that. And, when someone does message them, they're going to go, do you know what, actually, thank you, but I'm actually really happy here. And, hence why I do this. So, yeah, it's interesting because certainly some of the larger businesses that we work with, they're very nervous about like allowing their employees, or they're going to do something wrong, they're going to say something wrong. I'm like, look, everyone's just a human, right? Like they're allowed to go out, so you can't stop them talking in the pub or
Yeah,
speaking to someone at football. Like, I think there's still this kind of divide between a real world and this digital world that we live in. Whereas just because we're sat behind a computer screen like we are right now, we're still humans. We're having a conversation, and it's the same conversation I might have with you in a pub.
yeah.
But it's just not documented, I guess. But yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, kind of coming towards the end of the show now, but there's a couple of things that I always like to ask people about, and I'd love to get your points on this. And first one being, what are your top tips for marketers in manufacturing?
So the first one that I would say is have a go. It's like, don't think that it's not worth it. Like, say, from an engineering background, I looked at it and thought, why would we bother? This isn't money well spent. But actually, you look at the data out there, more and more of the B2C world is coming into the B2B world.
Yeah,
More and more people are engaging with stuff online all the time. So the more that you can be in front of them, even if it's on Facebook, is it's gradually building brand credibility. So definitely like give it a go. The other one is that spread betting. Have a go at a number of things. When you find something that works, just double down on it and say, okay, let's commit to that. And then yeah, one that you mentioned as well is that really know who it is you're trying to target.
yeah,
Really know your customer. Know who your good customers are now. What are the things that are similar? Profile them, and then yeah, LinkedIn's a great place to then just say, okay, how can I hone my LinkedIn search skills and search function to give me a really good list of prospects? Um, yeah, I'm sure
yeah.
that that you guys do that excellently for your clients. So
Hopefully. Perfect. Yeah, great tips. And Lastly, the kind of I always like to find out people's top three marketing resources, or is that a book, a blog, a video, anything really, but kind of where should people go and get some insightful knowledge?
Okay. So I've noticed that you're already wearing the HubSpot brand on your shirt. So we've benefited quite a lot from some of the HubSpot courses
Yeah.
that they run, and we use HubSpot to kind of manage all of our marketing where we can. So some of those have been really useful for our team. And there's a couple of books as well that I recommend. So one of them is Marketing on a Page. Our board chairman is a big fan of that, and has given that to us as something to chase down and work through, and it just helps you to flesh out a marketing strategy, a single page document to do that. And then then the last one, it is more of a sales book, but it speaks into how you connect with people, is one called Fanatical Prospecting.
Okay.
I don't know if
I've not heard of that.
that
No.
guy. Yeah, Jeb Blount. He's American. He's big on prospecting, but it's all about how do you connect well with people, and how do you make sure that your engagement is personable, and at least they feel like it's genuinely for them. So when you're doing email campaigns, it's making sure that they feel like they're receiving a message from you, that they're not receiving spam.
That's good. Yeah, I'm going to go and check that out for sure. Cool, Rich. Look, I really do value your time. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Some really useful bits there for everyone listening. So just to kind of wrap up, what's next for AME for the rest of the year? Like, what's anything exciting? Any little caveats you can share with the audience?
So yeah, what's exciting for AME for the rest of the year? Well, we've recently taken on a new sales and marketing director, and I think he's got big plans to kind of take the industry by storm. So I'm sure people will be seeing online content from him over the coming weeks and months. And yeah, we're really trying to push on now and see what we can achieve. We've got some great orders that have just come in from some of our big clients, but we definitely see a much broader world out there for us. So I think, yeah, I can't give you any absolute definition of what they're going to be, but yeah, we've got big plans for this year. We've just taken on a little bit more funding to help us continue our growth as well. So yeah, kind of watch this space and connect with us online and see what's going on.
Yeah, perfect. It sounds really exciting. And on that note, then, best place to connect with you, LinkedIn?
Yeah, you can find us on LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest place to get us.
Perfect. Rich, as I said, thank you so much for your time. Been really insightful. For everyone listening, that's been another episode of The Engine Room. And check out our Spotify or Apple for other episodes. And hopefully you will join us again very soon. For now, that's the end. And thanks once again to you, Rich. Goodbye.